Hello and welcome to episode number 74 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. We are a weekly discussion podcast created for Nintendo gamers by Nintendo gamers. It is the week of November 18th. My name is Daryl, as you know. And today, I'm once again joined by my good friend Sergio. How are you, man?
Hey Daryl, I'm doing pretty awesome. This has been the best week of this year so far.
Oh,
for
no.
me. At least this year. It's been amazing.
That's great to hear. Is that in any way due to a certain video game about catching monsters?
No, actually, no, yes, it has.
Oh, okay.
That's all there
Well,
has
I mean,
been.
I guess for you, it's
Wow.
literally not a video game about catching monsters, but it's a game about killing all monsters with a single monster. Okay.
Yes.
Anyways, and returning the conquering hero. How you doing, Kevin?
Oh man, I'm doing great. I finally had kombucha. It's been a while. This one is by.
Were you feeling some withdrawals?
Yes and no. But that's why I'm having kombucha.
Wait, what? Yes and no?
Yes and no.
Schrodinger's withdrawal?
It's yes like half the day and no the next half. But anyway, yeah. So I am currently having Health Aid kombucha. It is, I believe, it's an LA brand, and the flavor is pink lady apple. And no, I am not sponsored by them. Yes, that would be nice.
No.
No. Okay, all right. We're not sponsored.
No.
Okay.
Not by them for sure.
Not by them. Yeah.
No, I mean, how you doing, man?
Yeah,
You
no.
had a big trip. We'll talk about it in a minute, but
Yeah, honestly, I'm, normally when I take long trips like this, I'm like super exhausted. I don't want to talk to people. I just want to be in my own cave. But for some reason,
Jeez, I see how it is.
yeah, but for some reason, when I got back, I rested a little bit. And then today when I got to work, I was like, man, I'm good to go. Man, I'm ready to do things, work and just get back on a daily grind. So I am good to go.
Nice. So yeah, since you're gonna start us off, I'm actually gonna I'll do the topics. So I mean, first off, we're gonna talk about Kevin's trip to Japan. How was your trip to Japan, man?
Yeah, oh man, it was both amazing and humbling at the same time. 11 days. Well, it was actually 10 because of I lose 1 day of flying, but it was really good just to, explore the cities that I've been to, eat all the good food, desserts, and, but most importantly, be able to interact with the locals, despite the language barrier, with me having limited basic Japanese skills, very limited by the way, and just being able to talk to them and just get to know a bit more through food and just small talk. Normally, small talk isn't something that you can use to learn about people as much, but I think in Japan, when obviously the primary language is Japanese, I think it does a lot more than you think it does, and it's it's one of those things where you go into a country like this. This is my second time in Japan, but my first time, solo in this country, and yeah, flew by myself, and had a plan. I wrote down a bunch. I'm pretty old school when it comes to planning. I write down stuff I want to do. So I wrote down 50% of the things I want to do, and another 50% was just like ad hoc, improv, just winging it. Seafood diet, C as in SEE, not SEA. So I mean, if I see something, if it looks weird or interesting, like I'm gonna go for it. So yeah, that's the whole spiel. But
All right. So I have a question, real quick.
Yeah.
What was the worst thing you ate?
The worst thing I ate. Okay, so there's this red miso udon dish that is a Nagoya specialty, and bless their hearts, I can see why it's very unique, but that soup base is the saltiest thing I've ever had in my entire life. Like, I think regular salt cannot compare to that broth, man. It was just like crazy. The udon, it was decent, but the broth was just too much. I couldn't take it. Like, I was like, man, like what are we working with here? Like, how do you y'all can't even drink
Pretty
this? Like,
much just a block of salt.
yeah, and it price wise, it wasn't too bad, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I would not want to have it again.
Nice. So
Yeah.
where all did you actually end up going? I mean, Japan is a a fairly big country, to be honest. It's hard to explore the whole thing.
Yeah, so I landed in Narita and I took the Shinkansen to Tokyo. So I stayed in Tokyo for about a couple of days, and then I went to cities that I've never been to, that I've heard of either this year or just in years past, that I've always wanted to go to. So there's Shizuoka, there's Shimizu, Hamamatsu, Nagoya, Chikuma, and Nagano. And then I uh, took the train back to Tokyo and went back to the States. So um, the the other cities besides Tokyo, they were very, very nice. Not that Tokyo wasn't nice. Like, it was obviously, it was really good to be back there because I've been to Tokyo before, but
Hmm.
I think when you go to other cities that you're not as familiar with, you get a different feel of Japan. Like, for example, Hamamatsu, known for the green tea, unagi, um, wasabi, and just you have the city, but you also have the countryside that I had an Airbnb at, and I'll show you guys pictures later. But yeah, like, you know, being in that area, it's like it's like you're in an anime, and like you're like this. You feel like this person just walking down, the road and just looking at the grass and the breeze coming in and the river, and it's just like you're in this anime. It's like a very anime-ish like scene. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making sense here, but it's just like it felt very, very uh, comfortable and just very familiar. And then yeah, I stayed at a traditional art house, and it was traditional tatami mats. Um, they had a nice Japanese garden, and I slept next to paintings. They're like really big, and my Airbnb host, uh, her mom painted those paintings, and they're pretty beautiful. I'm like, damn, okay, like this is legit art, and yeah, I really like that city. So yeah, it was fairly nice.
That's awesome.
Uh,
Nice. And I believe you got a chance to visit a Pokemon Center?
I did. I went to the well, I think it's the main one. Pokemon Center Tokyo
Nice.
DX. do 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 do.
You can just keep going. I'm gonna keep doing
Ooh, okay. Yeah. So I made an effort to go there, and obviously I was in awe of like how amazing it was, like all the the stuffed Pokemon. Oh, what do you call it? The stuffed animals, but stuffed Pokemon. And I got myself a little Krogunk. It was really really cute.
Oh.
He has a really
Antibiotics will just take care of that, man. Don't worry about it.
yeah, yeah, man. I should try to. I got some stuff there. Some stationery, and like they were doing this. They were advertising about Pokemon Shield and Sword. I was not thinking about getting it in Japan at the time, but it was nice that they had the option. Although I did get it later in a different place, but but anywho, it was really cool because then there was like Pokemon Cafe right next to it, but you have
Oh,
to make a
nice.
reservation. However, if I were to make a reservation, it would have been on the last day, about the time that I have to get to the airport, so it would not have worked out. But that's okay. I didn't have to go to the cafe.
So you didn't break in like I suggested.
No, I did not because one, I want to come back to the United States in one piece, and two, I don't want to make a scene. I don't want to embarrass my family.
Breaking news: podcast host kicked out of Japan for breaking into a Pokemon cafe.
Man, can you just believe? Like, oh, I don't even want to think about that, but it would have been too crazy. But yeah, gosh, there's so many stuffed animals of like Gen 1 or just Pokemon. Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, all the gens, and just not all the Pokemon, just like, the most notable ones. You have Charizard, you have Blastoise, man, you have like, you know, Snivy.
Wow.
And just yeah, I it was just really amazing. And I got this awesome pencil bag. It's called Pikachu number 25. That's like the main thing there. And they have different designs of like Pikachu's. There's one, you have this like nice folder design of like Pikachu's, like, sitting on a chair, cooking food in the kitchen or something. And it's like a very, I gotta show you a picture. I can't describe it. I don't. I mean, I have it right here, but I don't want to pull it out right now because I have to go away from the mic, and I mean, I guess I can, but it's it's just really nice. And then, oh gosh, yeah. So and they had Pokemon trading cards too. I mean, it's just a really big store. So
Oh,
I mean, you
nice.
guys. Oh, one of the things that was really awesome was that there is this collection of Pikachu, and it's like dressed up Pikachu in like this flannel with a bow tie and glasses and a hat and like these brown pants. Like it's like a fancy schmancy old timer Pikachu, and it was like for 2,200 yen, which roughly equates to like $21 in USD. So I was tempted to get one. I was like, I don't know. I mean, eh. I just
I
moved
don't know.
on.
I'm not sure I could have left classy Pikachu there, but that's just me.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
just me.
That's yeah. Well, maybe I made a mistake then.
All right. So
Yeah.
I have a question, another question.
Okay. Okay.
You were traveling around in Japan, home of Nintendo, home of portable gaming. How many Switch Lights did you see?
You know what? I saw three, and
And they were all yours,
they were
right?
all mine. No, actually, I saw three at the airport on the last day because I they had this display of the Switch lights, and I took a picture of them, and that was it. Now I did see Switch lights on sale at different stores, but I did not, see one in person. Like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't
Hmm.
on display. But I did see them in the cabinets and all that. Now, given the fact that I have four Switch lights, I was thinking about getting a fifth one, but I did not. So no, I don't have any Switch lights. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like I just
Yet.
it is tempting. It is tempting. I keep saying that maybe it'll happen. I don't know. Like with Japan, obviously the food is amazing. Just like some of the things I've eaten are like next level. There's this one place in Tokyo. Well, it's in the area called Asakusa, and it's called Benetsuru, and they specialize in making these awesome pancakes. They're very fluffy, and they're just like the texture is just something you never had before. I've never had it before until I had that, and it was the second day, I believe. So the second day I was there, and I had to go there. Same day reservation, get there early in the morning, and then I met this Australian couple who, you know, found out about this too. Um, and then they lined up, and then other people lined up too, and they found out about it as well. And I forgot from where I found out about it from. This one YouTuber, I'm gonna give him a shout out, Paolo from Tokyo. Man, that guy's awesome. He's this awesome YouTuber who does top 10 lists of things to do, eat, and see in different parts of Tokyo and in different cities in Japan. So he's an amazing YouTuber. He also does day in the life series too, like day in the life of like a salaryman or mangaka, which is a manga artist, and a day in the life of a master chef. So definitely watch him or watch his videos is really good. And so yeah, anyway, same day reservation. I got my number. I think I was supposed to be there by 10:05, 10:10 in the morning, and walked around the area, did some things, came back, and then got sat down. I saw them making pancakes. It was amazing. Like just how fluffy it is, how thick it is. They had this nice like sunny side up egg on top, bacon in the middles, and this Japanese hollandaise sauce that just,
Ooh.
it just speaks of
You
glory.
just got Sergio's attention. I heard it.
It was not morbid, it was gorgeous. And oh gosh, I gotta show you guys a picture after this, man. Like, it was so good. It was as good as it looks. It looks as good as it tastes. It was just very, very nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to the Japanese breakfast podcast.
Yes. I'm telling you, y'all, for those who are going to Japan, especially if you're going to Tokyo in the or in the Asakusa area, it's spelled Asakusa. Definitely make an effort to go to Benitsuru. Benitsuru. You won't regret it. Get there early. Get some pancakes. You're gonna love it. Bam. So that's my recommendation.
So I had one more question for you, and then I don't know if Sergio, if you had anything, but so Kevin, if anyone listening is planning or wanting in some point in the future to travel to Japan, what is the top, like the best advice, single piece of advice you can give them?
My biggest advice for them is to just be uncomfortable and don't be afraid to try new things.
That's bad advice. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
so
it sounds bad. It sounds bad. Well, I say that because when you go into a country like Japan, you know you you're very humbled by the not just how polite they are, but how, like, just the culture. And I mean, all the bowing. Like, it is. I still find it a bit uncomfortable. Just bowing to people, even though they bow to me too. Like, there's a time where, or a lot of times where, if I would buy something, the same person will bow to me 3 times. The first time would be when I give them the money. The second time is when they give me my change and the thing that I bought. The third time is when they give me the receipt. Sometimes the fourth time would be when I say goodbye. So it's so embedded in the culture, and it may seem kind of silly or crazy, but it makes a lot of sense given the country that they are, the generosity, and just generosity as in, like, the way they want to treat people. Like, they want to treat people with the utmost respect, and just make sure that you have a good time and not feel like you don't belong. And so even if you don't know any Japanese, you can still have a good time. Like, for me, I said stuff like, "Watashi wa Nihongo ga amari wakarimasen," which translates to,
What?
I don't understand Japanese very well. And I would say that a number of times because, I don't want them to get the wrong idea that I can speak Japanese or something. Like, maybe at first I'll be, I would say some words, and then, like, after they try to say some stuff, I'll be like, "Uh-oh, gotta pull that phrase out," because I don't know what to do from here. And sometimes I got lucky; they spoke, some English. Other times it's just straight up Japanese, and just
You
gotta
just smile and walk away.
smile and just
Bow and walk away.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, but a lot of good things come out of being uncomfortable and just trying to get to know them through small talk, and even just like little words or pointing at things or trying to make hand gestures and motions. I think that's the thing I enjoy the most out of Japan. I mean, you have the food, you have the scenery, you have the attractions, you have the desserts, but in the end, when you interact with the locals, that is the best experience you can ever have in any country. And for anyone out there who has traveled, who hasn't traveled, like, traveling is the best thing you can do to enrich your life. It's such an invaluable experience. You learn so much from traveling. You see things from a different point of view. I personally have learned a lot from this trip. In years past, I would remember things I did, but I don't remember things the way I felt, things I've eaten, what it reminded me of. And so I made a point this year, well, this trip, to make sure that I would just write down things that I did, how I felt about it, the little stories that happened in between, trips and different cities that I was in, or that we're in, and so I have everything written down in my notes app, like, and I even wrote some stuff down too. And I'm planning on doing a travel blog slash scrapbook, of just of my journey. And you're probably thinking, well, Kevin, I mean, everyone's gone to Japan. Like, everybody's done, like, 10, 11 days. I mean, everyone's traveled one way or another. So, what makes it so different? Well, what makes it different is that, this is my experience. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
I mean, if it's personal to you, that makes sense. But
yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
cool.
And
I mean, I'm glad it sounds like a really good trip. Glad to have you back. But
oh,
yeah,
thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And on that note, I just want to let y'all know that I'm working on the travel blog scrapbook. I do want to share my experience with everyone. So I'm working on that, and I'll let you guys know. So, but yeah, it's good to
sweet.
be back. And
Nice.
yeah, I hopefully, for people who haven't, uh, who may or may not have gone to Japan, hopefully this will, this experience that I will share will, enrich your life in some way, and or even as much as to say, hopefully it would give you, something to read about, and make you smile. So,
Yeah,
or
so we're
not.
gonna release that as an exclusive reward to our patrons only. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, Kevin, you release that wherever you actually want.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I still want to go to Japan at some point in the future. Have not had the opportunity to, but yeah, hopefully soon
Yeah.
at some point. All right, so with that, a couple important podcast updates, since we haven't really talked about it lately. As you may or may not know, hopefully you do know, we do a game of the month every month. So our game of the month for Luigi, our game of the month for November was actually Luigi's Mansion 3. Our game of the month for Luigi was also Luigi's Mansion 3. So we have all been playing it. We're going to get together to actually review it. We're planning to have that episode in 2 weeks. So 2 episodes from now is planned to be our game of the month blowout for Luigi's Mansion 3. In the meantime, next week, I think, if we get far enough in it, hopefully, we're all going to talk about Pokemon. So we're going to be a little bit light on Pokemon in this episode. Don't freak out. We're going to talk about it next week. That just gives us some time to actually, I don't know, play it, maybe finish it. Here's hoping. But with that, this week, Kevin, what are we doing, man?
We're gonna be doing bump, 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 on the spot.
we developed a theme song for it, and then it got remixed after being used. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, part 3.
Wait, you got remixed on the spot.
On the spot remix. I love it.
Check it again. I'm just kidding.
So on the spot is one of our favorite segments where we basically just ask each other hard questions that we have had no time to prepare for. So I mean, speaking of no time to prepare, Sergio, what's your question?
What is your favorite video game soundtrack from the SNES?
Oh, yo, okay.
That system had a lot of good soundtracks.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, dude. Okay, I'll go first. Choco Island, F-Zero 2.
Super Mario Kart. You're actually going that over like Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger? That's hard.
Yes. Now, I did think about that when I said this answer, but you know what? I mean, when it comes to video game music, my first love with what I didn't know was jazz influence. I mean, Choco Island, my favorite, man. I'm sorry.
That game has an awesome soundtrack. I mean, I can't even argue with it. It just kind of surprised me a little bit.
It is. Yeah. Oh well.
I don't think it's a wrong answer at all. I think it's a great answer. I would have pegged you for an RPG there.
Yeah, I mean, I would have said Secret of the Forest by Chrono Trigger.
Well, I mean, it's an entire soundtrack he's asking for. It's not a single song.
Oh, well, in that case, Super Mario Kart. I mean,
okay.
I'm still gonna go Super Mario Kart.
Fair enough. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
Oof, I'm struggling on this one because I don't want to hedge it and give a bunch of different answers. I want to give one definitive answer, and I'm struggling.
Oh, that's the tough part. I thought I had my answer out of 2. I thought I was sure, and then I remember something. You probably heard me gasping earlier. I'm gonna go with Tetris Attack.
Oh,
Yes.
That's a good answer. That's a very good answer. Tetris Attack has very good music.
Yeah.
A lot of music is actually there's a few remixes from Yoshi's Island in it, which Yoshi's Island is another contender here.
Yes. Yeah, that was a contender for me. And yeah, Tetris Attack is just really good. There's variety in the music, but it goes with the game so well. And then when the field is getting full of blocks, you get the crazy like faster beat of each song, and it's all really good. It's really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good answer.
So singular songs would be easier for me. Full soundtracks would disqualify things like Super Metroid and such, which it has great songs, but just not that many of them. Also Super Mario World kind of falls in that too.
I'm hoping that you pick one of my contenders, and I feel like you should.
Now I'm not
Here we
sure what the
go.
right answer here is. I think I want to go with Super Mario RPG here.
Oh, that's a good one.
As a full
Yeah.
soundtrack, that it's very it's got unique music, a lot of it, and they're all
Yeah.
like unique songs and such. The other one I was going with was Final Fantasy IV. Those were the two that I was really struggling with.
Ooh.
What were you hoping
good
for there, sir?
I was hoping for Star Fox.
Oh, that
So,
would've been pretty good.
Star Fox has good music, but it's a little canned. Like the quality of it is not that good.
Yeah.
I've wanted to use that music before on a music episode, but I've listened to it. I'm just like, I think the songs are great, but
Yeah, I feel like they just go really well with what's going on in the game. But yeah, I agree.
I do
that,
really like
the
the
quality
Corneria
is.
theme.
Yeah, yep.
No, I mean, this is one of those questions I don't really think you can go too wrong on most of the time. I mean, you can even like freaking Super Nintendo Aladdin had a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, the Lion
and
King.
things like that. Like there were a lot of really good soundtracks on Super Nintendo. So wow, yeah, Mario RPG for me. I think I'm gonna double down on that.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
All right. I can go. So my question is there a core Nintendo franchise that you just don't like? And why is that? Sergio, we already know yours is surprisingly Animal Crossing. We were brutal about that last week. But so I'm going to start with Kevin since we already know Sergio's answer. Kevin, is there a core Nintendo franchise that you just do not like?
Wow, that is such a hard question. A franchise I don't like. I mean, there's a lot of franchises that I do like.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the franchise is bad. It just means you don't like it.
Oh gosh, man! Wow, this is really hard. I don't even know.
I mean, there might be a reason you haven't played an F-Zero game since.
Okay, hold on. Oh my god, I can't.
Not
do
to
that
answer for you. I'm just trying
I'm
to
not
connect
gonna-
some dots here.
Yeah. Oh man, this dot connection. I don't know. I mean, no, it's not F-Zero. Can you come back to me?
Yeah, Sergio, is there a core other than Animal Crossing? Is there a core Nintendo franchise that you just don't like?
Yeah, and I might get some hate mail on this, but it's just...
Oh, there is no right. Contrary to your question, this one has no right answers.
Wait,
Everybody
is it-
will be angry for everything, so don't worry about it.
Is it Kingdom Hearts? Is that,
No,
is that-
well-
That's not
okay.
Nintendo.
Oh, okay. I'm
If
so
it
sorry.
was,
Yeah.
then
No, it's not. No, you can't.
No. it's Mario. 2D Mario. 2D Mario. If I can make that
Really?
distinction.
Whoa.
Well, you can. I think that there's a lot of different like Mario genres. You could go Mario Tennis or Mario Kart, but 2D Mario, really?
2D Mario
Wow.
because I feel like since New Super Mario Brothers on the DS, they have been the same, pretty much every time. The Wii one, the Wii U one, the Wii U one with Luigi, even Mario Maker to an extent. I mean, it's just a Maker version of basically the same thing. You have everything there, but I don't know. I feel like 2D Mario is due for a good shakeup. Maybe start bringing in more of the classic elements from Yoshi's Island. I know Yoshi is kind of its own series as of late, and sad to say, I would say not as good as it used to be. You know, like Yoshi's Island, even Yoshi's Island 2.
Oh man, it
Mhm.
peaked with the first solo Yoshi game.
Yeah.
Like they've
That was
never
a good
matched
game, though.
Yoshi's Island since then. And the recent games have been pretty good. Woolly World was good. Crafted World is good. Not even close to Yoshi's Island.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
No.
And I mean, if I recall correctly, I remember Miyamoto saying that he wanted to make a new, like a Mario game in the new series, New Super Mario Brothers, for one for every system. I don't know if he counts Mario Maker 2 as the one for the Switch, but I feel like even Nintendo knows, and they haven't really done a 2D Mario for a while, like an original brand new one. I'm hoping that it's because they're working on something really nice and really different.
So let me ask: does this only really apply to the new series, or if you go back and try to play like the two famous ones being Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World, are those kind of bummers to you at this point too?
No, no, those are classics. Mario 1, 2, 3, and World, and I don't know if we count Yoshi's Island, but up to that point, I think that's 2D classic Mario, and then from then, it's been really lacking. The 2D side, definitely.
I think that's fair, and I don't think that that's as shots fiery as it might be. I personally enjoy the new series, but I totally see the complaints with it
Hmm.
because it's just a little safe, a little vanilla.
Yeah.
Even to the point that they ported one onto the Switch from the Wii U, but it's a really good game. I like it, but I can totally see why you wouldn't.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, time's up.
All right. Yo, I gotta go Mario Party.
Okay.
Oh.
The first one, it was not terrible. I did like the mini games, but I didn't. The thing about having it being a board and like dice roll and like the luck factor of just getting just coming back from way behind and winning, like the luck factor is way too much. Even though I got into it a little bit in years past, I can't. I skipped this iteration of Mario Party intentionally, even if it had online. I don't care if it only has 10 mini games online. It doesn't matter. I don't like it. It just
Well, if they released a full online Mario Party, I would have jumped on it. This one I didn't. I skipped it because I'm like, it's not worth it.
yeah, but even so, like I mean, like when it comes to Mario Party game, I want to play. I mean, not I want to, but like you want to play the whole experience of playing on the board, right? And I'm just like, I don't know, I just can't get into it. No, not for me.
So,
But I see your point though, Daryl.
do you, as my follow up question to you, do you like the mini games? If you were to completely remove the board game from it,
I do like the mini games. I think by itself I would like it more. Um, but that's it. Yeah, I think the mini games have its own charm. I do like the 1v3 games. Those are, especially when you're the the one side and you just beat the crap out of the other three.
yeah,
So,
it's like intentionally misbalanced just because. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there's something fun about that I really like.
I
But
was
yeah.
like the 2v2s for whatever reason.
Oh,
I really like the 2v2s.
there's the one where I still remember. I think it might be the first one where you're trying to move the cart. Like kind of like a I don't know what do you call that. Like you're in the mine and you have to like move the cart up and down and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
with
it's like
your
it's one of those push carts, so you've
Mm.
got to
yes.
move the lever up and down. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I like that one. And then I think the 4 player free for all is good too. But there's certain games like that.
Just
And
as a package, not really for you, huh?
just as a pack's not really for me. No, they say it's Mario Party, but I mean, it's not really a party when it's bad.
I think you would probably like Mario and Sonic. I know I'm hyping that a little bit, but I think you'd probably like it. The
You
new
know,
one.
I think I would, and you talked about it a bit. I'm intrigued, but I'm on the Pokemon phase right now,
Yeah,
so
you're in the black hole. That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay,
What
I
about
think
you, Daryl?
it's I I was gonna say I think it's time for your question. No, I'm gonna answer this, but I'm not gonna explain it until later.
Oh, okay.
Um, and it's a cop-out, I'm sorry. The Nintendo franchise that I just don't like, and I've tried several times, and I just don't like it, confirmed recently, is Pokemon. I don't like Pokemon for a bunch of reasons that I will get into next week. How's that for a teaser?
Oh.
You know what? As a bittersweet fan, I can empathize with you. That's all I have to say.
Believe me, I tried, and I feel like I have valid reasons, but again, my teaser, check back next week to find out why. Or check my Twitter a little. Anyways, yeah, just not for me, and becoming more so not for me. So, interesting.
Fair enough.
All right, Kevin, what is your question?
If you were to choose one Nintendo controller to use for the rest of your life for any console, if it were to work for any console, what would it be and why?
Probably the Switch Pro controller at this point. And I know that probably sounds weird from me. People have probably pegged me as like a GameCube controller enthusiast or something.
I was gonna say because like you with your experience in Melee and
yeah, don't get me wrong, I love that controller, but geez, the Switch Pro controller is so good. I actually, that's the one I use to play Smash on Switch. I don't use the GameCube controllers anymore. I still love them as as just kind of a I like playing Melee with them. I like playing GameCube games. They still feel good, but to me, like the Switch Pro controller, minor D-pad issues aside, which honestly don't affect me that much, I love that controller. I love everything about it. The weight's great. I like it being wireless. I like the button placements, the size of everything, how it feels, the construction. It's just nice, and it's my favorite controller I've ever used. So, yeah, that'd be it for me.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty. I mean, they made a really good controller. Like, just.
By the way, if anybody says Wiimote, you're off the show. I'm serious.
So why is it? No, I'm just kidding. Sergio, what is your controller preference?
This is gonna sound crazy.
It's the Wiimote.
No, it's the Wii U Pro controller.
Okay.
Oh.
Also a fantastic controller.
Yeah, at least in terms of battery life and the ergonomics of it. I mean, of course, I wish it had all the features of the Switch Pro controller, like HD Rumble and
Motion.
NFC and motion, right? But the Wii U Pro controller, it's so light and it lasts for like a decade, probably.
Dude, it lasts for like 80 hours on a charge.
Yeah,
For sure.
and it's so light, and it has all the buttons. It's really well done. Like, I feel like the Switch Pro controller it's almost up there in at least in ergonomics and feel of it, but just for those two, I'm gonna go with the Wii U Pro controller. Mm-hmm.
So do you prefer the sticks being on top there versus the asymmetric Switch layout?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I actually prefer the asymmetric, which I think is a lingering GameCube thing for me. But that honestly might just be the difference.
Yeah, I mean, well, in my Sony days, having the joysticks like on the same row was something that I preferred a lot more than the asymmetric. But with the Pro controller from the Switch, I mean, yeah, it's hard to compare. It's a 50-50 split. But for me, oh gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this.
The Wiimote.
No, I gotta go with the Joy-Cons. It's a weird answer for me.
Wiimote 2.0. Yep.
Oh no.
Actually, This is a good answer though. I'm fine with Joy-Cons.
Yeah. I know people complain about how small it is, how your hands cramp, but
they feel nice.
They do really feel nice, and the versatility of like being able to play, just with one Joy-Con or multiple Joy-Cons, away from the console. I just love it. That's why I have 3 sets of Joy-Cons. Like, it's just, oh man, I didn't intend it to be that way, but I just love the Joy-Cons. Like, it feels so good in the hands. You just play with so much joy. I don't even know where I'm going with that. But...
So do you like using the Joy-Cons with their little grip, like in that strange like square controller arrangement, or are you more talking like a handheld arrangement, or like literally holding the Joy-Cons in each hand?
So I used to like holding the Joy Cons in each hand,
Okay.
but playing more handheld now, um, no, it doesn't contribute to me wanting to Switch Lite. But I do like playing on handheld and just having it attached to the console. Like it just feels natural for me now. I even have the skull grip that I use every now and then, to
Yeah.
get a nice grip on the console, and it just feels sturdy, and like I just like it. And my preference now, obviously, I've talked about before. It's just having the neon purple, neon orange layout. It's just with those Joy Cons. I got them too long ago. Like it's just a nice thing to have. And yeah, people would talk about the D pad. I have no complaints about it. I actually like the way it feels. I
I
don't
like
need
using the
it.
buttons as a D-pad, actually.
Yeah,
Like, they're very precise.
they are, and I do understand why people would say they want like a traditional D pad, but
Oh, sure.
uh, everybody has a preference. Go what you like, go what you want, and yeah, just gotta go with the Joy Cons as it is. So there you go.
Now, I will say this regarding the GameCube controller. There's two things I think well, I'm going to convince myself on GameCube controller if I'm not careful. There's three things that I think it did really well. One, I really liked the spring-loaded analog shoulder buttons that,
Yes.
they were able to do a lot with, like, speed control and such, that kind of thing. That I really liked and we haven't had since. I do like the clickiness of the digital buttons, but the analog gives you some more control, so it's neat. I really, really like the actual button layout on the GameCube controller, the centralized A button with the other buttons just kind of hanging out around it. I know it was a little weird and it made some problems for ports at the time here and there. But honestly, for a controller that you're like, what is the button that you should be pressing? Hey, hand this to somebody and say, hey, what button do you think you should use? The big green one? Yeah, that one. And it actually worked out for most games. So I thought that was actually kind of ingenious. I wish they would bring something like that back, even though I do like the diamond arrangement. I think that the GameCube was trying something. I think it did really well with that. And finally, the notches around the sticks in each of the 8 directions were super helpful for knowing where you actually were on the controller versus just a circle.
Yeah.
So I
Right,
get on the
right.
Switch Pro, and the Wii U Pro did the same thing. I get these like slight angles from time to time that I don't mean. That the GameCube, I never had that because it actually had little indicators for it. But yeah, that's why that controller is really good too. I'm still going Switch Pro though.
Nice.
Yeah, no, those are good points. I mean, like, granted, it was unique at this time, and I do agree with the 8 notches on the left analog. I mean, it's still there's a reason why it's such a legendary controller to this day, not just because it's used widely in Smash. I mean, it's a big reason, but I mean, it just overall it's a very sturdy controller, and I mean, even when you hold it in the hand, like whether you have big hands or small hands, it has a nice balance. So yeah.
Did they ever sort of explain why the Z button is only on the right side? I wish there was one on the left because I would use that for
Yeah,
jump
I
in Smash Brothers.
Because they didn't want it, I guess. I never understood that. Like it
yeah.
was it was I think it was just them saying, well, we're never ever going to use these buttons anyway, so let's just put one here and then call it a day.
That's it.
I don't know. That was weird to me at the time. It still is.
Or like, oh, we ran out of letters.
Nope. You
Well,
could have used Y. I
there's
mean,
nothing after. I mean, Y is already in use. There's nothing after
oh, that's
Z.
true.
What do you
Yeah.
want, an alpha button? No, we're not doing that.
I mean, you could put maybe a W, but that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah,
uh,
hit the W button. No, I don't know. I've never understood that.
or the
It did
T.
make some things less convenient,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
whatever. Nintendo being
Yeah.
weird, I guess. So that actually, I think we're gonna jump into some listener mail because we have time to jump into some listener mail. So this will be fun, and we have a question that I think is like perfect for this. And I'm gonna go with a question from Cube. So if Nintendo were to base color schemes, and I'm also going to go with button schemes, for Joy-Cons off their old consoles or controllers, which would you like to
Oh.
see?
Ooh, man, I'll go first. You know what? The original Game Boy. Oh hell yeah! I would. I mean, I like the look and feel of the colors and just if they can make Joy Cons with that, I would sign me up. Oh yeah.
It had like this like really classic like grayish color to it.
Yeah, and it just makes you feel things. I don't know why I said that, but that's the first thing that came out of my mind. Like it just makes you feel things.
Well,
You know,
there's a
when
nostalgia there. You're not wrong.
yeah, and like it's like a very it's not like a gray from a Switch Lite, but it's more like a gray that yeah, it just feels very familiar, and I'm not gonna specify the hex colors for it, but it's just when I see gray, that's what I think of.
Nice.
I'm not making sense.
Nah, that's okay. I mean, I'm a boring answer here. One, I mean, the solid answer is I want a GameCube Joy-Con just because I think
Nice.
that'd be awesome.
Yes.
And the second one would be like a Super Nintendo Joy-Con, just because I love that coloring.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, boring answers. As boring as I could possibly be, but that's actually what I want. So there you go.
Boring answers are not bad answers. It sometimes it's a good answer. So I think it's a good answer.
Nice. Well, for me, it would be the Game Boy Pocket Ice Blue edition. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
I loved all of
Oh,
the. Was that one of the
yeah.
see-through ones?
Yes.
Yeah, I loved all of the see-through ones. Atomic Purple and whatever the green one was. Oh yeah, they were all just awesome.
Yeah. And back then when it came out, I was still in Mexico and I read the Club Nintendo magazine back there. Uh, and I would always be looking at the ice blue Game Boy Pocket box. And one time my mom said, "You know what? I'm going to the States. I'll buy it for you." And she came back with a Bop It instead.
Oh,
and
oh no.
and I'm like, this is not the same thing.
It's very
And
different, Mom.
Oh man.
I
I
always
thought I was gonna end well.
Oh no. And I always wanted that color, so I would love a pair of Joy-Con of that color.
Yeah, any of those classic see-through colors, I would be all over that for a pair of Joy-Cons like that. Especially Atomic Purple. That was like the classic for
Oh
64
yeah.
for me. Like
Can't
almost
go
everybody
wrong.
had an Atomic Purple controller for some reason.
Yep.
So I think we aced that one. Who wants the next question? Just pick whatever one you like.
Yeah, I guess I will go with one. Um, Dragon asked, "What are some of your proudest gaming achievements?" Sergio, we'll start with you.
Uh,
For me, I mentioned this before, but I guess it really stuck with me. The fact that I persevered and I kept going and I didn't give up, unlike someone, Danny. I beat Trauma Center. So
you
I
beat
Oh,
beat the
Trauma Center?
original, yeah, the original Trauma Center on the DS.
That
It's
game was super hard.
yeah,
yeah, that is.
Very nice. I can see why you'd be proud about that. What made
yeah.
you do such a crazy feat?
Well, I love the game first of all, and I knew that a little girl's life was at stake. So it took me a couple of days, but I saved her.
Good
Very
job,
good.
Sergio. You
Thank you.
made the digital world one
Yeah.
better, just a little bit better that day.
Dun, 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 dun. Well, that's Final
Not
Fantasy,
all
but
heroes wear capes. Okay.
yeah.
No, that game was like super hard. So yeah, that's actually like an accomplishment. Um, Speaking of accomplishments, my single player proudest would probably be beating all of Celeste. So
Oh, for
all the
sure.
seasides, and then Chapter 9 when it came out. Chapter 9 is probably the hardest single player thing I've ever done. Just in general. Now the game is pretty forgiving, but that still means that mechanically it's extremely hard. Um, and took a lot of patience and just kind of perseverance to get through, and I was really super proud of it. a special moment to me, almost enough to like make me want to put Celeste as my game of the year this year. I'm not going to, don't worry, but it was special to me, so I was happy to be a part of that. The only other one that really comes to mind, I mean, you guys, we talked about it. I used to play Smash tournaments like crazy. I won some little regionals and stuff around. But probably the proudest I was actually, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, so I'll keep it short. But my dad and I entered a Major League Gaming tournament, so one of the big tournaments in DC in like 2005, and we ended up placing 9th in doubles. Just me and my dad out of a group of actually like really, really good players. So I've always kind of hung my hat on that one. I know it's not like winning the tournament or anything, but that was actually quite an accomplishment for us, because we were just just kind of having fun playing around, and it worked out. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, like, just playing at such a high level. I mean, that's gotta be a great feeling for sure. I mean, I wish I could say that, but yeah, that's awesome. For me, single player, I gotta go with Spelunky. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it is a open source indie 2D platform video game.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was one of the toughest games I've ever played. But when I first beat it, like, I was so relieved. Like, I spent hours just trying to finish it, and I would be able to finish, in multiple runs, and just, it felt really good just knowing what to do, where to go, how to, get the right stuff needed to traverse through the levels. And Spelunky is probably my proudest single player achievement. And then there was another one too, in terms of like just the leaderboards. Daryl introduced me to this one game called Steriden, and
I talked about that a long time ago.
Yeah,
Steriden binary stars. Yeah.
Yes. And given my experience playing like Strikers 1942 back in the day, I gave it a shot. And I had this amazing run one time. I went like on hours. I don't know how many hours, but like I ended up in the top 20 of all the leaderboards in that game. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah.
That game's not easy either.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, oh my god, like, what's going on? Like, what? And then after I, got that rating, I said, I'm done. I'm not playing this game ever again.
I beat the game.
I beat the game.
I
got to the top 20 leaderboards. I think I was number 18. And then
I think you were 14 for a while.
Oh yeah? Oh, okay. Well,
I'm pretty sure you were at 14 for a little while. I'm not sure where you are now, but yeah.
All right, so I was at 14.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, top 15 is like worldwide ranking. That's pretty awesome for a shoot 'em up game. Come on.
Yeah,
that's great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, thank you. It's I mean, I did not expect that, and so I will go to my grave with that achievement.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So Spelunky was like pseudo randomly generated, right? Like the levels each time. Okay, that's what I thought I was thinking of. Yeah, that game was hard too.
Yeah,
it was, because like when you first start off, you're trying to figure out like, because it's randomly generated, so you can't just rely on the same pattern all the time. So you have to be constantly learning. Just develop certain habits on trying to get through levels, and then once you're able to find a shop with you had enough to get some equipment and stuff, like, yeah, go for it. And then you have all these different kinds of monsters. You have like these man-eating plants. You have these ghosts, and then like it just gets pretty crazy. And then like there's that one part. It's kind of like a lava level, sort of. And like, don't fall into that. And it's just, I think that the difficulty was pretty challenging. It felt kind of like Celeste challenging. Celeste level challenging, and it was just very, very good. Like, I was so addicted playing it on the PC at the time, so yeah.
Very nice. All right, I think we have time for one more question. Sergio, you want to pick your favorite?
Yes, and I like this question by Big Shot. We're gonna shorten it a little bit, but we can really get into the answer here. He asked, what do you think about games with multiple endings? And personally, I'm not a big fan. some of the points that Big Shot brought up is that in a way maybe it's the developers not knowing how to end the game, and I feel like sometimes that's the case. I might be wrong because I haven't played it, but I always think of Chrono Trigger when I envision a game with multiple endings. And honestly, I don't know if it has like one better ending than the rest, or if it's a game like some of the Zero Escape games that has multiple endings in a way, but you have to play through a few that lead up to the main real ending, if you will. And I think that's fine. I think because at the end you do know which was the real ending. But when there's multiple endings, I guess two is okay because some Zeldas have that, and I guess personally I'm okay with those. But if it's three or more, and you can kind of tell that maybe the developers gave them equal importance, like I said, maybe it's because they couldn't decide, or even if they want to leave it up to the player. I don't know if that's the best choice they could make. I'm not a big fan, but surprisingly, I don't think there's that many games that do it. At least not the ones that I played.
I think Cave Story was one that did that pretty well.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I think.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
he actually mentioned Cave Story as a negative example here because he didn't
right.
know it had multiple endings, and
Ooh.
Right.
to get the true ending, you actually have to like at one point a doctor kind of falls in front of you, and you have to like not talk to him to get like so it's a little counterintuitive, and you pretty much just have to know about it or look it up or something. So I totally get that that feeling.
Yeah, I'm mixed about it. I think it depends on the genre. Like if it's like an RPG, especially if you spend like hours and hours of playing, I can see it as a negative just because like you spend so much time, only to get one ending, then you have to play a bunch of hours again just to get the other one. It could be a little time consuming. Now I won't say that when I'm a lot younger. 'Cause if I were a lot younger, if I had more time in the world, yeah, I wouldn't mind. But now because I don't have as much time to play games as I want to, I do see it as a negative. Now, however, if it's for like other non RPG games that are a bit shorter and just the run that you can have to get that ending, then I think it's fine. So yeah, it's more time based for me.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same. Let's establish some ground rules for if I like it or not. So if there are bad endings, I typically don't like it. If there are bad endings and it takes replaying the game to get the good ending, ooh, you're really pushing it now.
Yeah, no,
You're really
no.
pushing it. And Cave Story is guilty of this, and I still love Cave Story, so just take that for what it's worth. It's a fairly short game though, so it's not a huge investment. The thing real quick in defense of Cave Story, it's kind of meant to be played like that. Like you play it just the normal way once, and then it was a game that I kind of dove into a little bit, learned a lot more, learned I had missed a ton of weapons that were in the game and on the way to the actual final like true ending. So I learned a lot more about the game the second playthrough, and that actually helped a lot. But oh geez, like if you tell me, oh yeah, you made the wrong decision back in hour 20 of this 80-hour game, so
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, that's a real quick recipe for me to go YouTube the rest. Like seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's such a pisser. I don't even know what to say about that.
So if a game has endings for like completion percentage, which is kind of what Hollow Knight did.
Right.
And Hollow Knight did it actually kind of the right way in that you could always get the bad endings, or you just reload your save. You're still back where you are. You go find more stuff and get a better ending.
That's perfect.
And
Right.
some of the extra stuff was actually kind of hard to get to. Is that it actually unlocked like a super hard final boss and such. So yeah, that's fair to me. I'm okay with that because in that capacity, well, you did get an ending. So maybe you can just be done with the game, or you can go through this really painful challenge and get a slightly more complete ending. That's fine. I'm struggling to think of too many games where I feel like it actually enhanced the experience to have multiple endings. The only one I can come up with right now off the top of my head is Star Fox Command actually on DS.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm glad
I was gonna
somebody else
joke
has
about
played
that,
this. So
Oh,
if you
man.
haven't played Star Fox Command, one, I really don't recommend it because I don't really like that game that much. But the actual story it told was actually kind of interesting in that, based on decisions you made, it was kind of like a choose your own adventure game, kind of. Like, so at various times you had the ability to, side with General Pepper or side with Peppy on one thing, and then you made decisions and it
Yeah.
changed the missions you went to, changed the whole story, and changed your ending as you went through. Now, the game was pretty short, so you could play through it a bunch of times to get multiple endings and such. But there were endings like Fox and Falco give up Team Star Fox and turn it into a racing group a la F-Zero.
F-Zero.
And go become
Yes.
racers. There's other endings like,
Oh,
Crystal goes
man.
and forms her own group, or Fox has a kid who forms like a super, a future Star Fox. It was crazy, like just off the walls, crazy town, and I actually kind of enjoyed that. So that one enhanced the
Yeah.
experience.
That's
But
Yeah.
cool.
I'm not sure any other game with multiple endings has actually made it better, in my opinion.
Right.
You guys have any other examples of that?
I don't remember. Damn.
Like, honestly,
Shoot.
I've heard Chrono Trigger is actually one of those. Like, the other endings are actually like worthwhile to get, and that's one of the reasons people really like that game. But
Yeah, but
I can't
the thing is
speak
that it's
on it.
just too long. Yeah, sorry, it's just too long. Like you have to play multiple times. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, and if it's like a 30-hour RPG, yeah, YouTube, hello.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I have this thing. It's about time, man. Like, if it's more than like 10 hour, if it's more than like 10 hours for a playthrough, I'm not gonna bother. Like, God. Which
Any
is tough.
other examples where multiple endings actually made the game better? I'm honestly struggling here.
So, there is one game that my friend talked about, which, near Automata. I've heard that that game has multiple endings. Like, you have to beat it multiple times in order to get the true ending. But they do it in a way where you're encouraged to beat the game over and over again. But I never played it, so I don't know personally. I just heard about that. So,
Oh, I got one. I got a
Yeah.
recent one too. Fire Emblem, Three Houses. Multiple paths,
Oh.
multiple very different stories, multiple endings from the same game, and it actually makes it better. So yeah, there's one.
Yeah,
And
it's just
that's also a long game that you got to replay, which
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I was gonna say, like,
as
man,
I got
86
halfway
hours
through, the blue lions are out and just stopped. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, for me, 86 hours in one playthrough for
Uh-huh.
1 year. I just, I'm gonna wait for a while. I don't know if I'm gonna get back to it.
That's one of those nice happy mediums where like you can play a single leg of that story and feel pretty great about it, and then like put the game away or be happy there, or you can go into another one.
Right.
Or you can be like Sergio and just never actually beat it.
Oh no.
Maybe some year.
All good.
Yeah, but I mean, for the most part, surprisingly negative on multiple endings, considering how rampant they are in video games. But like my opinions go from and not really a good idea to yeah, I guess. that's pretty much my range with the odd examples of Star Fox Command going. Yeah, that would actually make the game better. So
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
interesting. Good question though.
Good stuff.
All right. I think that's probably going to do us for listener mail questions, but we have a couple more questions to talk about. Sergio, it's all yours, man.
So last week we asked if you were 10 years old and you were embarking on a journey on your own, would you rather bring a sword or a shield? Honestly, I don't think I saw any answers, but I understand why, and I agree with why nobody answered. It's because everyone is playing Pokemon Sword and Shield, so
Yeah.
you guys did the right thing.
That's right.
I
But I have
disagree
an
with that.
answer. No, okay.
Well, what would you
Next
bring?
week.
You know what? In basketball, defense wins championships. I would go with a shield. I would bring a shield with me. It's one of those things. And when I think of a shield, I think of Captain America. Yeah, because you can attack with a shield. You know what I mean? Like you can throw in and hopefully it
Most
comes back to
people
like a
aren't
boomerang.
Captain America, though.
I know, but I would like to think I am to a certain extent because, he's amazing. Well, okay, and then
Well, like,
yeah, just
examples in history of people using swords to defend themselves, thousands and thousands. Examples of people using only shields in combat, Captain America.
Captain America. I'm gonna go with the minority.
Huh.
You know what? Like, I gotta go with that answer. So I'm gonna go with the shield, and I know it's not historically it doesn't make sense, but I will bring the shield.
Well,
I mean, I gotta say sword because I gotta be opposite of Kevin, of course. But
oh,
no,
yeah.
I mean, it's just like you're embarking on your own, so I'm assuming at times you might want to catch some food, or you might want to chop down some fruit or something like that. It's much easier to use a sword. It's more utilitarian. You can defend yourself and attack with a sword. Yeah, sword is in my opinion, logical choice, but
When you say catch your food, I don't know why, but I thought about using a Pokeball to catch like a piece of cake. I don't know why.
What?
I don't know. It just came. I thought about it for like 2 seconds. Like, wait a
Does it
second.
do
Oh,
the
it's a
little
sword.
catch animation like doo-doo, doo-doo,
Oh, you caught your food.
caught some cake?
I know it's so irrational and like it just makes no sense, but I'm like, okay, we're not talking about Pokemon. We're talking about
Kevin's
actual
a
real.
little jet lagged, just a little,
Maybe a
tiny
little
bit.
bit, yeah. But go. Sword's a great choice. So.
All right, Sergio,
Nice.
tiebreaker.
I'm going with the shield.
Yes.
So I'm actually playing Pokemon Sword, but no, the shield is you can protect yourself and you can attack. I feel that you can attack more with a shield than you can defend yourself with a sword, unless you're counting attacking the other thing with the sword. I mean, I guess attacking is a form of defense, but it's a little violent.
All right,
Yeah,
good luck on
no.
your adventure, guys. Have
And
fun.
we can use it like as a sliding thing, like in Zelda.
Oh, that's right.
Because that's real. Yep.
In
Well,
a
guys.
bowl for food.
Yeah, that actually is kind of real. But okay.
Uh,
All right. What's our question this week?
Our question for this week, I am totally not making this up. This was picked before this on the spot. The question is, what is your favorite gaming controller of all time? It can be any system.
whoa. That sounds very familiar today.
Yep.
Virtual Boy, fight me. Okay.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so definitely answer that. We'll put that in our Discord especially, and we'll post about it on Twitter. So there you go.
Nice.
Sweet.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We're gonna jump out of here. But you can keep the discussion going by chatting with us on our Discord group. The description for this episode has a link to our Discord if you would like to join. We are also on Twitter and on Instagram as NintendoJump, and we also have a Facebook group. Please send us any feedback you have at NintendoJumpPodcast@gmail.com. The best way to support this show is through our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/NintendoJump, or by leaving a review for the show in your favorite podcast application. We would really appreciate it. This is Sergio, and on behalf of Daryl and Kevin, thank you for listening. We hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.
See ya.
I got nothing.
Yeah, Kevin couldn't think of a song. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna go back to the other one.
No, okay. Well, I did have one, but I want to save it for the Pokemon episode. So.
I'm gonna go with Hot Battle theme.
Hey!
All right, bye guys.
Wait. That's a great thing, by the way. And I will hum it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.